Hello, this is an overview of a coming course in June 1st and June 2nd in year 2013, and the title of this course is TCM Qi from I-Ching Perspective. And my name is Dr. Samson Chung, and I've been studying I-Ching for almost 35 years, and I also teaching I-Ching in Oakland, in San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm very interested in I-Ching and also traditional Chinese medicine, and I can assure you both subjects is very broad and very wise, and you will be a long time student for these two subjects. So let's get started of the overview. And what you are expecting on this course, and I'm going to tell you why I'm interested in this course. And first of all, when I study TCM, and then in TCM Foundation, we talk about Qi. And then Qi, as you know, in the Chinese character means the air, but actually it has a much more deeper meaning for that. And in the TCM, Qi is very abstract. And then there are functional Qi, like it is a functional Qi and also a locational Qi. For those who understand TCM will know what Wei Qi is, Ying Qi, Zhong Qi, all this Jiangfu Qi. And also there's some Spring Qi and then Shen Qi. So when I first touched and learned TCM, I found that the concept of Qi is very abstract. So I believe some students also have this feeling as well. So what's the motivation of this course is I want to define what the Qi means in the traditional Chinese medicine. And then, well, we're going to look at closely of the Nei Jing. And then because Nei Jing is the oldest book about the TCM, and it talk about a lot of Qis in the book as well. And then we try to understand briefly, not too deep, what Nei Jing is telling us about the TCM Qi. And then we try to define what Qi means from the I-Ching point of view. And then with the definition, and then we will look at the text of the Nei Jing, and then try to use the modern science, the modern biology, and then to explain the text inside the Nei Jing. So, so if we can explain from the modern biology to those texts inside the Nei Jing, then that means the definition of Qi is passed. If we cannot do that, that means the definition of Qi is failed, and then we have to look deeper on that. So here in the course, we're going to explain to you what the definition is, and then and how and the process. I'm very concerned about the process of learning, not just I giving you a solution of what I think what Qi is, but it's the process we should understand such an abstract meaning of Qi. So this is what the lecture is about. We want to look at the TCM Qi from another point of view. In this case, from the I-Ching point of view, and then we will believe some of us when we first learned about TCM, we believe certain Qi is going from one channel to another channel, and then we have a model, but the model is not really scientific enough to do that. So what I'm trying to achieve in this course is we built a model with a nice definition, and then when we apply the model to what we have, and then what we have known, and then we try to see if we can improve the definition, and then we have built out the model out of it. And then well, but for 2,000 years, the Qi in TCM has not been nicely defined. If you study the Nei Jing, if you study the classic, and then you will. It was also fascinated to myself is that for so many years, why the definition of Qi is not really defined. There's nobody actually laid down what the Qi means, except some people trying to say it is an energy. But then when you want to explain the Qi from spleen or the Qi from stomach, then are the energy different or something like that? So it's pretty abstract. And then so that's why I was kind of myself when I studying TCM, I kind of questioned myself why our ancestor had not actually give out a concrete definition of TCM Qi. So when I understand a little bit, and then I realized that the TCM is a little bit different from the modern medicine. The modern medicine, they like to look at the cells and then define, give a name of what the component of a cell looks like, and then try to explain the function. But the TCM is a little bit different because TCM is not a physical science. This is more like a natural science. For a natural science, and you look at things as a whole. So a definition of something might not be as important as a physical science. But I'm not saying modern medicine does not have physical science. Of course, some aspect of modern medicine is actually rely on natural science. But those aspects I find out, as when you look at TCM, those aspects actually become a philosophy. So I find it quite interesting. And then in the course, we will briefly discuss about the differences between the modern medicine and then the TCM, and how we try to use the modern biology and explain the text in the Nei Jing. Okay, and then here is the content of the course, and then we first of all review what Qi in Nei Jing talk about, and then we will analyze the TCM Qi from the I-Ching's point of view. Of course, we will give an overview of I-Ching as well. And then we also, from there, then we can define what TCM Qi is. And then once we have the definition, then we will pick some of the texts from Nei Jing and then try to explain what it means. Some of them because it's very abstract from a modern biology point of view, using those definitions. And then we will go into Jing Qi Shen. Jing Qi Shen is three pillars of the Chinese medicines, and we will also go into a little bit about the blood and Qi, and also the I-Ching Qi in the Chinese culture. We'll touch a little bit about this in the course. From here, I can give you a little bit about what the Qi in Nei Jing is, and then you can have a lot of stuff in there. Actually, if you open the book of Nei Jing, it talk about a lot of Qis. They have talked about the cosmological Qi. Cosmological Qi is more philosophical, and it's also talk about the nature related. Even mountain has Qi, sea has Qi, not to mention wind and thunder. And also there are 4 season Qi. Different season we have to do different things, listen different type of music, eat different type of food, because of the Qi that's coming out from the heaven. And then also there's a 5 element of Qi, like the metal, water, fire, earth, this kind of 5 elements Qi. And and then these Qi is not what we are interested in this course, because this is non-TCM Qi that mentioned about in Nei Jing. In fact, the one that we are very interested in this, we focus in this course, will be the TCM Qi, which is the functional Qi. Say for example, when the Qi can, if the kidney can actually absorb the Qi. Now, what does it mean by that? And also want to understand what is Wei Qi, Ying Qi. What are these? And then we talk about blood and Qi. How the relationship? So these are the Qi that we want to redefine, and then we want to explain using modern biology for the text in the Nei Jing. And then of course I have to give you a brief overview of what what I-Ching is, and maybe some of you may know I-Ching is the oldest book in Chinese culture. And it basically is a cosmological view where the heaven and earth actually coming from Tai Chi. Tai Chi is basically the group of energy, is the beginning of the beginning. And then when the Tai Chi can split, this kind can split into Yin and Yang. That's we also talk about this. And then as far as the I-Ching, there are a lot of ways of looking at I-Chings. If you would consider I-Ching as a big building, and you can look at it, this building has 3 doors to get into these buildings, and these 3 doors would be that the image, Jiang in Chinese, and then it's just very related to the science that we are in our layman language, and then it's also Su, the numerics. This is related to our logical or analytical aspect of I-Ching, and also Li, which is more philosophical aspect of the I-Ching. So these are the 3 doors that you can use to get into the building of I-Ching. But actually, these 3 things actually being are the 3 pillars, a very important thinking or the philosophy that the I-Ching people, the people who study I-Ching with. I can give you a little bit about why these 3 things is so important in I-Ching, and then how we will rely on this thing when we are trying to study the TCM Qi from the I-Ching's perspective. Actually, everything that around you or that you see every day can be described in these 3 things. But of course, you can describe 4 or 5 things, but they may be redundant. But these 3 things are the very essential. And if you have more, I don't think it's necessary. If you have less, that is not enough to describe a thing. For example, look at this picture. This picture is a football player trying to kick a football. And as you can see, this is an image. This is what you can see is an image. But actually, this image or this action has been related to some numeric or some mathematics involved in it. For example, the angle of the football will determine how far the football will fly, that kind of thing. And then, of course, what is the reason of the football playing kicking the football? That's a little bit more logical or a reasoning, a philosophical way. So for a picture like this, you can immediately see 3 things involved in these pictures. But this is the 3 most essential things in the pictures. And actually everything that we see, maybe a cloud comes in or a tree fall down, whatever that is, you can always have using these 3 things to look at it. And then anything less will be not enough. Anything more will be redundant. And there are 3, and also these 3 things, as I can explain to you, they can be interchangeable. And we will go to a little bit deeper about the philosophy of I-Ching and how people using I-Ching in the course as well. And then giving you a brief overview, I-Ching it has a system, and the system is that we so-called a cosmological system, and it starts from a Tai Chi, and then Tai Chi can split, like our amoeba is split into Yin and Yang, and the Yin and Yang also split, have a 4 xiang, 4 different images, and then each of them will also split Yin and Yang and become a Bagua, the 8 trigrams. So these basically is the system that I-Ching starts from. We are talking about 5,000 years ago. Okay, and then in the course we will briefly overview and try to understand what is the Yin and Yang, and then what the 4 images are, and then how Bagua or trigram being used in our daily life and what do they represent, and then also it will because the system of I-Ching has 64 hexagram, and so we will briefly talk about that as well, and then also the meaning of Gua. Gua means the gram, the trigram or hexagram there means Gua, and then as you may know, I-Ching is a very old book in China, and it's also the very first application of I-Ching is oracle. That means trying to predict what's the future going to be. And then why it worked and has been working, and then how to make it work properly. And I will briefly, because it's not an I-Ching course, I will not to go too deep inside to that, but I will briefly telling you why I-Ching oracle is accurate and has been accurate, and what's the factor behind it in order for it to be accurate. So we will talk about that a little bit as well. So and one of the very most important things behind I-Ching is the trigram. It represents something, and then we will learn about it can represent a natural phenomena, and then represent the natural the scenery that you see, and also in a family it can also represent family members, and then it also can represent animal, and it has its own 5 elements as well. Not only that, it also has its characteristic, and then I can explain to you. You don't have to remember this by heart. Actually, they are very logical when you understand the image of the trigram. So, but each of the trigram has its own characteristic. For example, Shen, it means wind, and it has a characteristic of sneaking in, or coming through, that kind of thing. So in the course we will talk about this as well. And then also the Bagua have 2 arrangements. These 2 arrangements has been vastly being applied in TCM and also in other Chinese culture like feng shui, and also drawing, even drawing or calligraphy. Some good person who write nice calligraphy will actually apply some of this concept to it. And then okay, let's see. Well, yeah, I will talk about this deep in detail about what is oracle, and then why oracle is accurate in what sense. We will talk about this, and also open forum for questions as well. So after that, we will talk about the blood and qi in Nei Jing. Okay, because we want to define what qi is from the I-Ching point of view. Well, because there's many books being written for many years. So in this course, I would like to use this one. This book, it is very nicely written, I think, and it has the Chinese character in there, and it also has the English explanation to it. So of course, as you may know, Nei Jing is an old book, and many people might have a tiny little bit interpretation of it. But we will use this book, and then we will use this one as our guideline to how to interpret the meaning of a Nei Jing. Okay. Well, we will go through a little bit about the blood first, and then because qi and blood are together as far as TCM concerned, and so I will give you a little brief overview. This you learned actually in foundation of TCM, and then we will, once we know we refresh ourselves of the foundation of TCM, then we come back to the trigram, and then actually there are 4 trigram I would like to emphasize in this course, and then that help us to define the meaning of qi. And then once we define the meaning of qi, then we will apply this definition to the Nei Jing book and the old text and see whether it works. For example, how qi move and transform. For example, qi is 冷闪血. It means qi is able to move the blood. Now this is actually written in the Nei Jing, and then what does that mean? Okay, we look at it. We look at it from the I-Ching point of view. Okay, and then we will also look at the modern thing. We understand how blood being moved in the bloodstream, and basically there are some physical phenomena behind it. There's the osmotic pressure and the hydraulic pressure, and these 2 pressure also can be represented by the trigram, and then we'll get it a little bit deeper to it. Once you get a hang of it, get a hook of it, then you will understand what this means. And then from there we can deduce that the cosmological pressure is basically this trigram. And of course now you don't know, but if you follow the course, we will explain what this trigram means. It means mountain, it means stop, it also means a lot of things, and there's its own character, and we apply this character to it, and it fit to the explanation. And then we will apply not just one, but a few classical example. For example, Qi can engender fluid, and Qi can move fluid. What's that mean? Where does Qi come from? Is it just mean energy, or more than that? We will examine it. And we also have a Qi Hua, 这冷出. Well, that actually coming from the Nei Jing as well. And we will understand what is Qi transformation. And then another text, for example, is Pi Qi San Jing, the spleen Qi scatter the accent. What does it mean by spleen Qi? And then we will look into modern biology. And then the conclusion basically is the spleen Qi is related to the blood mitochondria. We will talk about this if you don't know what it is. And basically is a powerhouse of a blood cell. So we will try to analyze all this together in these 2 days of the course. Thank you for listening to me, and then I hope to see you all either from the internet or in person on June 1st and June 2nd in 2013 at Five Branches University. Thank you.